Greetings, friends, and welcome to the In Central Asia channel. My name is Marina Borisovna, and today we have a cozy, homey episode with some tea and cookies. The cookies, however, seem to have already been eaten by someone. So let's dive into our top mosques that we visited over the past year. And while you're pondering how it's even possible to compare mosques from different cultures and countries, you can thoughtfully subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and give a like if you haven't already. Now let me explain. If you haven't traveled much to countries where Islam is actively practiced, you might think all mosques look the same. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. Each mosque is uniquely charming, reflecting the culture and history of the place where it was built. In this video, I'll try to show you just that.
Shall we begin?
The Buhara Mosque is the most colorful mosque and one of the last authentic pieces of antiquity in Registan, the main square of Bukhara. Buhara House is a large quarter mosque, divided into winter and summer sections. The winter section has a classic 4-column hall with several exits, while the summer section can be used during warmer weather. The windswept Avan is a room that lacks a fourth wall. This luxurious open Ivan is the pride of Buhara House, distinguishing it from other mosques. The wooden ceiling of the Ivan is decorated with rich carvings featuring colorful geometric ornaments. You can't take your eyes off it, don't even try. The construction of the winter mosque and the nearby reservoir began in 1712 and took 5 years. It wasn't until 2 centuries later that the Ivan was added surrounding Buhara House on 3 sides, along with a minaret, of course. According to one version, the Buhara House Mosque was built by order of the wife of the ruler of Bukhara. Another version states that the purpose was more community-oriented. The city lacked sufficient space for public prayers. Despite the decline in culture and economy in the Bukhara Khanate during that period, funds were still found for the construction of one of the most beautiful mosques in Bukhara.
It was the Taiwan Mosque. It was built by order of our last emir, Mir Said Limkhan, who paid for and financed the construction of this wooden Iwan. Wood was quite expensive at the time, and only rulers, nobles, and wealthy people could afford to build with it. Craftsmen were invited from the Fergana Valley, and the wood was also sourced from there, as we did not have our own local supply.
The elegant, elongated wooden columns of the Iwan are a testament to this. The tops of the columns are crowned with capitals featuring delicate stalactite designs, while the relief background of the Iwan's ceiling is adorned with a variety of ornamental patterns. The walls showcase magnificent ganch carvings and intricately interwoven geometric and floral motifs. People gave this architectural masterpiece a second name, Chil Sutun, which translates to Mosque of 40 Columns. And now for an exciting quiz. I'll invite you to solve the mystery behind the mosque's second name. Write your answers in. Whoever guesses correctly will figure out what the prize will be. The Minor Mosque, located in Tashkent, is the fastest built mosque we've encountered on our journey. Construction of the Minor Mosque began in the summer of 2013, and by October 2014, just before the sacred Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha, it opened its doors. Right behind me stands the Minor Mosque, less than 10 years old, but due to its grand scale, it immediately became the spiritual center of Uzbekistan. This mosque hasn't yet become steeped in legends, but let's give it time because it is truly unique. Unlike ancient mosques built from brick, the Minor Mosque simply dazzles with its white marble. On a clear, sunny day, it appears to float above the ground, its blue domes dissolving into the sky. I wanted to say it looks very authentic, but these blindingly white marble walls in their flawless beauty dissolve any attempt at comparison. But in all seriousness, does it really differ from traditional religious buildings in the Central Asian style? The mosque is built in the classical Uzbek architectural style, with typical frescoes forming traditional national patterns, a mihrab, and clay gypsum carvings. At the entrance, guests are greeted by the main portal in the form of a huge pishtak with an arch inside. The arch itself is decorated with mosaic tiles in delicate white and blue tones. You will also find friezes with arabesques that imitate Arabic calligraphy. Here are a few more interesting facts about this building. First, the locals also call it the White or Snow Mosque. Second, world-renowned architects unanimously recognize the Minor Mosque as a modern masterpiece of Uzbek architecture. Third, according to unofficial data, one of the sponsors of the construction was the Russian oligarch Alisher Usmanov, who has Uzbek roots. So far, this information has not been confirmed in any way. Usmanov himself denies the rumors, but in Tashkent, people believe that it was he who built the Minor Mosque. An important clarification. In one of his interviews, Usmanov denied sponsoring the mosque, but at the same time said that he would not mind helping if asked for assistance. The Minor Mosque has left a bright and flawless impression in my memory. Honestly, it is a perfect 10 out of 10 in terms of beauty and craftsmanship. An immortal masterpiece of Muslim architecture from the East, it was also the largest mosque of its time and the crown jewel of our journey. The Bibi Kanim Mosque is one of the grandest mosques in the Muslim world and the largest mosque in Central Asia. You can best appreciate this when you find yourself here standing near its majestic walls next to the portal known as the Milky Way. There are many beautiful legends about how this mosque was built. According to one of them, it was constructed by order of Amir Timur, who had just returned victorious from India, and he dedicated this mosque to his beloved wife. Bibi Kanim translates to eldest princess or chief wife. Another legend tells the opposite story, that Timur's chief and beloved wife decided to surprise her husband by building this beautiful mosque for his return from yet another military campaign. I don't think it matters who built it. Regardless of who constructed it, what's important is that now thousands of tourists from all over the world can come here to Samarkand, see this beautiful mosque and the entire ensemble, and perhaps even create their own legends associated with this place. In fact, construction on the mosque began in 1399 by order of Amir Timur after his return from the Indian campaign. This was a time when the architecture of Central Asia was experiencing a monumental style of facade construction. Amir Timur himself said, "If you doubt our strength, look at our buildings." It's true. What a colossal scale, what grandeur, proportions, and most interestingly, innovation. The ingenuity of the master builders is also reflected in the pursuit of maximum aesthetic forms. The decoration of the building absorbed the very best of what craftsmen had achieved by the beginning of the 15th century. Majolica and carved mosaics, carved marble, carved wood, painting on plaster, and gold leaf ornamentation. This was a new stage in the development of traditional medieval mosques. The mosque was built in a short span of just 5 years. Talented local craftsmen as well as masons from Azerbaijan, Persia, and India took part in the construction. Nearly 100 elephants were even brought in for the most strenuous labor. However, the immense scale of the project did not account for the earthquakes that occur in the territory of Uzbekistan. Tremors. The dome began shedding its stones onto mosque visitors even during Timur's lifetime. In the very first years, the monumental arch of the entrance portal, the man-made Milky Way itself, collapsed. From the 1960s to the present day, restoration work has been tirelessly ongoing. The complex was restored literally from ruins so that future generations, including you and I, could marvel at such a beautiful history with our own eyes. Now, out of the entire complex, only 5 structures remain: the portal, the Grand Mosque, 2 smaller mosques, and the minaret. In the center of the palace stands a huge marble podium for the Holy Quran. Juma Mosque is the most wooden mosque on our list, located in the heart of Ichankala. The Juma Mosque occupies the most important place among all the other mosques in Khiva. Its main distinguishing feature is the architecture that is atypical for mosques. You would hardly know that you were passing by a religious institution if there wasn't a minaret standing right next to it. The Juma Mosque was built around the 20th century. It is unique in that there are no portals or domes. Inside it there are 213 wooden carved columns, which seem to prop up the ceiling. The even rows of wooden carved columns gave the mosque a new nickname, the Cordoba of Central Asia. Cordoba is a city in Andalusia, the capital of a province in southern Spain. There is the Mezquita, or Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba, now a Roman Catholic cathedral, which in its architectural design is very reminiscent of our Juma Mosque in Khiva. If you've seen it with your own eyes, write in the comments if you notice this similarity. After the attack of the Iranian army in the middle of the 16th century, this mosque was almost completely destroyed, with only 13 columns remaining. To restore its former appearance, local residents were asked to bring columns from their own homes. Fortunately, the stone and marble bases of the columns remained in their original positions. Thanks to this, the mosque's former interior appearance was restored and its main feature was not lost. The columns were mathematically arranged so that no single column obscured another, while all of them harmoniously combined with each other, despite each having its own unique history, much like enchanted trees in a magical forest. The reconstruction or restoration was completed at the end of the 18th century, with parts of the former mosque being reused, such as the original columns and 2 additional openings in the roof, which create the feeling of an open courtyard. This allowed the building to be used not only for prayer, but also as an event space and for educational purposes, showcasing the architectural technology of the time. The most restrained and concise mosque that we encountered in Central Asia on our journey turned out to be the Central Mosque in Bishkek. The Central Mosque of the capital of Kyrgyzstan earned the title of the newest mosque that we came across on our path. Its opening took place in October 2018. And yes, I know that in Kazakhstan there is an even newer mosque, but we have not reached it yet. It also lays claim to being the largest mosque in Central Asia. The area of its covered portion is 7,500 square meters. Up to 6,000 people can pray inside the mosque simultaneously, with approximately 20,000 more in its courtyard. In terms of its dimensions, it even surpassed the Bibi Khanim mosque that we saw in Samarkand. I believe it makes for a good story for such a cultural and religious site in its first year of existence. It will undoubtedly go down in the history of Bishkek. White marble for it was imported from abroad, and the interior walls were painted by Turkish craftsmen. And it must be said that a mosque of this form and size is something new for the local residents and especially for the faithful. Anyone can come here, but of course, one should take into account all the rules for visiting such establishments, and your attire should be appropriate with arms and legs covered. Rumor has it that Turkey allocated $25 million for this new construction. We, of course, do not count other people's money, we can only make comparisons. And it seems to us that this mosque closely resembles the largest mosque in Ankara. Kul Sharif is perhaps the most unusual mosque I have ever seen in my life, in the most positive sense of the word. Our first encounter took place at night when the incredibly skillful lighting accentuated new layers and depth to the structure's form, making it seem like you were gazing upon a fairy tale. That was the impression it left, and the most delightful part was that this mirage did not fade away in the light of the mosque. Kul Sharif is not an ancient building, but rather a new construction. Beautiful, made of white marble with turquoise domes, peaks, spires, and minarets that simply command your full attention. As the authors of historical documents assure us, before Ivan the Terrible came to the capital of Tatarstan with his conquest, there were as many as 5 mosques here. Of course, the most beautiful and majestic of them was the Kul Sharif Mosque, but it was destroyed during the siege. This stunning mosque was completely demolished, and from that point on, its history was put on hold for several centuries. Kul Sharif in Kazan is the main mosque for the Muslims of Tatarstan. The construction of this modern building took 10 years. During this time, historians uncovered new details about the medieval Kul Sharif Mosque in Kazan. As a result, its future appearance was constantly being adjusted, practically throughout the construction process. Finally, in 2005, the mosque was officially opened, coinciding with Kazan's Millennium celebration. The building's decoration featured unique finishing work, ceramic panels and paintings created using 15th century techniques, classic stained glass windows, and colored glass produced using baking technology. Carved ganch is just one item on a long list of decorative elements. Though the mosque isn't large, it boasts 6 minarets in total. 2 main ones, 2 small ones, and 6 semi-minarets that serve an architectural function. Currently, the mosque serves a dual purpose. On one hand, it's a place of worship, and on the other, it's a popular tourist attraction. It's open to visitors of all nationalities and religious backgrounds. Let's try to go inside and take a look. The spacious main hall for men is adorned with handmade Iranian carpets, a chandelier made of Czech crystal, painted domes, and tulip-shaped stained glass windows. You can admire the space from the viewing balconies in the women's section, which are enclosed by high, intricate railings. In the mosque's basement, there's a museum of Islamic culture in case you'd like to learn a bit more about it. The Samakhi Juma Mosque is considered the oldest mosque in the Caucasus and Middle East after the Derbent Cathedral Friday Mosque. The time of its construction is believed to be between 700 and... This date was determined based on the Arabic inscription on the facade. Along with the Vaika Mosque in the city of AGSU, this mosque is the first Islamic building on the territory of Azerbaijan. It was during this time that structures began to appear on the territory of modern-day Azerbaijan, which later came to be known as ancient Islamic architectural monuments. The main Friday Mosque was built on the central market square, with a madrasa next to it that became part of its architectural complex. In terms of its composition, it has no analogues in all of Azerbaijan. The enormous prayer hall was divided into 3 square-shaped separate halls, connected to each other by open, wide portals. Each section has its own separate mihrab entrance. According to art historians, this was due to the fact that in the central, most ceremonial hall, there was a service for the nobility, while in the side halls there were separate sections for the common population, with female and male halves. Such a division of the mosque was characteristic of mosques from the Arab period. During its existence, this mosque had to endure a lot. It was reconstructed many times because there were earthquakes, attacks, and various other adversities that could befall. The walls of this beautiful institution. Now in the form in which you can observe it, it was rebuilt in 2013 and completely reconstructed. Initially, the project was much smaller than what you can find now, but that's probably for the better. In contrast, it was once located in a madrasa, an educational institution, but now there is no trace of it. However, in the garden near the mosque, you can see huge iron structures, their preservation, is characteristic of structures in the Caucasus. I hope that now your worldview has more room for all kinds of positive comparisons. Let me remind you once again that our opinion is subjective, and this does not negate the fact that we will be happy to discuss your vision of this topic in the comments to this video. Tell us which mosque impressed you more than others. Be sure to subscribe to our channels. See you in the next video. Ciao. What else can I leave the pillow for?